Sun, beaches, and Latin-inspired flavors are what people around the world call their vacation paradise. We call it home. Welcome to the weekly podcast that captures it all. The Scoop on Miami. Let's discover and rediscover Miami together with Ernie Emad, a 54-year resident of the Magic City, and Miami native Lainey Rada on The Scoop on Miami. And now, here's Ernie Emad and Lainey Rada.
Welcome to another live episode of The Scoop on Miami. We do this every Friday as close to 1 o'clock as possible. A couple of delays today, but we are so happy to have you along with us and to follow with our journey every single week. My name is Ernie Emad, and I'm the broker owner of One Premier International, and I'm sitting along this lovely lady.
Hi, I'm Lainey Rada, Leading Edge Broker Associate with Douglas Elliman.
How was your week, Lainey?
The week has been good. A lot of things happening. And more things are happening today and this weekend. We're going to definitely mention Juneteenth, which is today, the oldest nationally celebrated commemoration of the ending of slavery in the United States. It's dating back to 1865, and this was 2.5 years after President Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, which became official in 1863. And I myself always remember President Lincoln because of this abolishment of slavery. That was easy to remember because that was a very important thing. And also today's a holiday for businesses. It's the first time this has happened.
So there's good changes coming about. As a matter of fact, businesses are really treating this as a national holiday as it should be. And there's no question. I know that my daughter told me today that she's getting time and a half. So they're really treating this as a, so all of this going on is because we're beyond the point of discussions, and it's good to see actions begin to take place. So we salute this.
Yes, and this is also Pride Month. So we're going to have our inspirational quote today that reflects that says all people should be treated equally regardless of who they are and who they love.
Boy, that is so true and so poignant in today's world.
It was hard to choose a quote. There's a lot of beautiful things to say about that.
There really are.
Saturday is the first day of summer, and Sunday's Father's Day. You know, you can always count on your dad for bad jokes and good advice when you don't ask for it.
Well, here's a bad one, right? If you're Hispanic, like I am, then we know that we always say that thank goodness we have one Father's Day. We say un día de padre because all the other day are de madres, meaning they're Mother's Day in a...
I get it.
You got it.
Yeah, and just to mention a really nice event that's going on at Vizcaya. They have a barbecue for Father's Day, and that's a fantastic place to be. So just wanted to mention that.
Hopefully we'll have great weather cooperating.
Yes,
as well.
The weather's a little unpredictable.
Absolutely. So get your stuff done early, right? Because we're into that summer pattern as the first day of summer as well. And we know what happens in the afternoons, correct? So every week we start with Miami Rewind. We take you back in a little bit of history of when something got started. And today is a real special one because we'll never be able to walk in without knowing the history of it.
That's not the rewind.
Oh, that's not the rewind?
That's the hidden treasure.
Oh, that is the hidden treasure. So today's Miami Rewind is ready to cool us off as we enter into the summertime,
That's
right?
right.
So
That's
tell us a
what it
little
goes
bit
with.
about it. You're absolutely right.
Yes, today's Rewind is a really beautiful place, very unique. It's the one and only in the whole United States, which you'll hear some more information about it. And I thought of it because it is very hot and a nice time to enjoy this place.
So let's go with Lainey Rada's Miami Rewind.
It's time to take a look back with Lainey Rada.
Miami
Rewind.
Part of George Merrick's vision as the founder of Coral Gables were community amenities. In his ideal suburb, he wanted the residents to share the most abundant opportunities for leisure. DeSoto Boulevard is a street named after a Spanish explorer and conquistador named Hernando de Soto. At 2701 DeSoto Boulevard, you will find Venetian Pool, one of the most unique pools in the entire country. It sits on 4 acres. The pool was designed by Denman Fink and Phineas Paste. The pool had its beginnings as a rock quarry from which the oolitic limestone was used to top road beds and accent the houses. When it opened in 1924, it was named the Venetian Pool and Casino. The artist's vision was to create an impression of the old world charm of Venice. The tile roof towers frame a loggia that provides shelter and create a special backdrop for the pool itself. It is very naturalistic, with rock outcroppings that create caves and grottos. The grotto caves stretch 12 feet into the hillside. An additional island was created to allow Venetian gondolas to dock with the bridge and the classic striped crooked mooring posts. There's a walking path all the way around. It has been in continuous operation as a swimming pool, except in 1987. A $2 million restoration added the handicap lift and this process to recycle the water. Early in its history, the 820,000-gallon pool was regularly drained. It contains fresh water from artesian wells. It is the largest freshwater pool in the United States. In 1998, they created a new system to drain the water back into the aquifer. The water is always recalled as freezing. Taking advantage of the quarry's natural acoustic abilities, it was drained to permit a Miami Symphony performance. This happened for the second time in 2001 to celebrate the 75th anniversary. It is 4 to 8 feet deep and it has a 2-foot deep kiddie pool. There's a huge waterfall turned on at 11 o'clock every morning. There are all types of swimming lessons as well as lifeguard lessons. There's also a summer camp. I was a little person who learned how to swim there. It is available as the perfect setting for weddings, birthdays, and corporate functions. One thing sorely missed is the high diving board. Johnny Weissmuller has enjoyed it, but it's gone now. Neptune's daughter, Esther Williams, has also visited. Nothing could rival its beauty and picturesque qualities. It delights all the senses. It is beautifully landscaped, the sound of the water. It even has a scent. Its temperature and the ambiance winding through it. There's an old picture gallery. It is the only pool listed on the National Register of Historic Places. It is so special, it appears no human was involved in its creation. I never forget stepping down those little steps into the dimly lit entrance. If you're visiting and have limited time, it's a must-see. If you're melting in our hot weather, nothing is cooler. Step in and go back in time. That's the scoop. I haven't been there in a long time.
I haven't been there in a long time either. Actually, I saw it from a distance. I went out with my daughter, and we actually took some pictures of the fountain that's there. The
fountain was designed by the same architects.
Really?
Mm-hmm, and it's called the DeSoto Fountain.
And now I know why the water is so cold.
Yes, I never knew that either. But it's fresh water.
It's a
really
beautiful
remarkable.
surrounding. You don't feel like you're in South Florida. You can really escape, and that's fantastic. So we have, again, 2 great guests today on today's program. And we're going to get started with the Freebee. It's electric, right? And it's a wonderful way to have transportation in South Florida. And on the telephone right now, we have the Director of Economic Development for Freebee. His name is John Janus, and he's got an interesting background. His background is in hotel management in New York. He's a degree in philosophy, and he's a former semi-professional rugby player. I thought that was very interesting.
Very well-rounded.
You're not kidding. Good afternoon, and welcome to the Scoop on Miami, John.
Hello, Ernie. Laney, how are you today?
Great. How are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much for having me on today. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. We look forward to hearing more all about what's happening with you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Tell me a little bit. What is Freebee?
Well, Ernie, Freebee is a very innovative transportation service that was founded here in Miami about 8 years ago. And so we contract with local municipalities to provide a convenient, free, and safe way for people to get around without having to drive, deal with the parking and the traffic themselves. And it's funded through a combination of advertising and subsidies, and so the rides are free for the passengers.
That's how it ends up being free also. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that because I've been on before and had these really nice little complimentary things like sunscreen and little packets of things. It's fun. You just never know. It's a surprise.
It really is.
Yeah.
You really give opportunities for businesses to cross-promote and to brand themselves through you.
John, where do you operate?
So our office is based in Wynwood, and we have operations in 15 cities around South Florida. So we are in Coral Gables, Key Biscayne, Pinecrest, Palmetto Bay, Doral, Miami Lakes, South Beach, Mid Beach, and Miami Beach, Wynwood area. We're as far south as Isla Mirada, as far north on this coast is Delray Beach, and we've expanded over to St. Pete Beach on the Gulf Coast as well.
It's very expansive. Yes, because I've been in different cities and used it for sure. You know, the last time, besides the other day, thank you, was when I took the Brightline train down to West Palm, and you're right there to pick up and take people around. It's perfect. What are the current business hours? What type of services are you currently providing?
Well, one of the great things about Freebee is we work around the peak demands for wherever we operate. So in some areas, we will begin service as early as 6:30 in the morning or 7 in the morning.
Oh.
And in some areas, we go until midnight. So it really can depend. But we usually operate anywhere from 8 to 14 hours per day, given on that specific area.
Well, that's fantastic. I love how it goes around the demand because somebody could say, oh, I need it to work or get off a train or be in a business area. So that accommodates everyone. That sounds great.
We use it here all the time in our office because we're in Coral Gables and we're in the CBD, right? The Coral Gables business district. And it's so wonderful to be able to go to our local restaurants, our banks, and local businesses without having to park again and pay for parking. It's door-to-door service, and the drivers are so friendly and really a great service.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ernie. That's it's definitely one of our best attributes is our drivers. You know, we have drivers that have been with us for 4 years, 5 years sometimes, and they love Coral Gables as well. That's certainly one of the most popular zones for our drivers to want to drive in. But they get to know everybody, and I'm the person that reads the feedback every day that people leave for our drivers on our app.
Oh.
And it's just overwhelmingly positive, and the Coral Gables drivers, and many of the drivers' names that show up almost every single day. And I'm glad you mentioned the restaurants, too, because, you know, we're not just a transportation service, but we also connect with, like, the local economy, you know, so... You know, we let restaurants and local businesses know that if you take a free ride to get somewhere instead of spending $10 on an Uber or $20 round trip on a Lyft, it's now free. And we hope that, you know, their customers spend that money at the local businesses instead of on, you know, companies based in Silicon Valley or somewhere else.
Yeah.
Perfect match. Yes,
it is a good match.
Yeah, that's why we need you to tell everybody about all this because there are things I think people don't realize of what's behind your business. It's fantastic. How do we contact you and you know, how does somebody decide? You know, I want to try the Freebee. How do I find you?
That's a great question because I meet people all the time, even in Coral Gables, that have never been on a Freebee, and I will walk them through the steps. The next thing I know, their name starts showing up every single day. So the main way is we have an app called the Ride Freebee app, Freebee. And you download the app, you use it very similar to an Uber or a Lyft or any other ride-sharing apps. You request the ride, it'll determine where you are, and you let us know where you're going. And within a couple minutes, the driver will contact you and let you know their estimated time of arrival. So that's the primary way. We also have a phone number in each of our zones. For those that don't use smartphones, they can pick up the phone and give us a call.
The three people. The three
I'm
people
sorry.
that don't use smartphones can reach you.
But I think
Well,
it's great that
It is
it's
great.
an alternative.
Absolutely.
That doesn't exist anymore.
in Coral Gables, it might be three people, but in some other areas, it's more than that. But and then if you happen to see a freebie, you can always flag down or wave down the driver, and if they're available, they'll of course give you a ride to wherever you're going.
I know that's a great point too, because there are more seats in a freebie car than there are in a regular car.
There are. That's a little bit different now in the age of coronavirus. We have seats for 5 passengers, but at the moment, safety, of course, it's always number one for us, and so it continues to be. We aren't seating people in the front seat, only in the rear 2 rows, but that still allows room for 4 passengers. And it's also important to note that normally we do pooling, where you might be in a freebie with someone that you don't know. For now and for the foreseeable future, it's private rides only. So if you're a party of 1 or a party of 4 or 2 or 3, we're going to be picking you up with no one in the vehicle except for the driver, who'll be wearing gloves and a mask. And then they'll take your party where you're going. We wipe down the cars, disinfect between rides, and then we go on to the next ride request.
Yes. I don't know why it always looks like people are having more fun in a freebie than they are in the other services, honestly, because I don't know if it's the music or the drivers. It's just really more entertaining, and the cars are so cute.
Oh, thank you. That's very important. On the inside, we're really focused on the safety aspect of it, but it means so much to us that from the outside perspective, they see how it's fun. So we can be safe and be fun at the same time.
So I know the founders went to school at UM, and tell us a little bit about how long has Freebie been in business?
We've been in business for 8 years. Our co-founders are both originally from Philadelphia, and they met at the University of Miami, so they're proud Hurricanes, and one even played football as a walk-on for the Miami Hurricanes. And they were living here. They were working in sales and marketing, and they always kind of had an eye on transportation and a better way to do things. And finally, they put their heads together and jumped on this opportunity to create a transportation service that was funded by marketing. And then after 2 to 3 years, it started to evolve into negotiations with local municipalities as an official transportation service. And so we made that leap about 4 years ago, and that's really been the future of the company, is to be an official transportation service that can offset the cost with marketing dollars.
That's fantastic, yes.
It's electric, which is a really important thing, because anybody that's trying to reduce their carbon footprint, that's a big deal.
And it's good to know that you can hail them, right? You can flag them, because you normally can't do that with a taxi service or something like that. And people may have thought that Freebie is like a tourist type of a ride around town, when it's really provides a fantastic service and transportation door to door.
Yeah, door-to-door transportation, on demand. And we did kind of begin in the more touristy areas of Wynwood and South Beach. That really, that shows our evolution that, in South Beach, I have to explain to people that we're a transportation service in most areas. And in other areas, I mentioned that we're, a little more of a leisure service in South Beach and Wynwood. So, but yes, it is electric, and the cars are very quiet. So it's not just the air pollution; it's also the noise pollution that we contribute to reducing.
I know we welcomed them, because when they were redoing Miracle Mile, that construction took longer. They took away a lot of the parking, and so your service was very welcomed.
That's correct. That was the inception of Freebie in Coral Gables, and even though on busy days we will drive 400 passengers in Coral Gables, there's still a shortage of parking spaces a lot of the time. So, we're looking forward to really transforming, how people get around in Coral Gables.
Yes, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about the wonderful sponsorship opportunities that you offer, not only to the big businesses, the corporate Americas, but also to small businesses.
Yeah, it's really innovative and effective, because our vehicles, they're noticeable. They're Polaris gem cars, so they're kind of golf cart style vehicles, which everyone loves. So they stand out. And so the branding on a vehicle will be seen by thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of people in a day. And we go through, a long process to make sure the creative looks exactly the most effective way possible. And then inside the car, we also have a TV screen that we play a video on a continuous loop for whoever the car sponsor is, or for the local community. And then, of course, the drivers, who we call brand ambassadors, they memorize some of the main features and highlights of a particular company, so they can let the passengers know that they're sponsoring the free transportation, the electric transportation within that community.
And the apps have specials for restaurants and some free drinks and so forth. So it's a great cross-promoting with the small businesses as well as with the customers, which I think it's fabulous. So tell me a little bit about
here about the in-car video loop.
Yeah, there's just a TV screen in front of the front two rows, so just behind the driver. And, kind of like the TV that would come down in like an airplane to let you know to fasten your seatbelt. But ours is fixed there, and it'll play a short commercial on a loop, either for the community, the municipality, and or the sponsor of the vehicle. So just a little extra way to get some good marketing out for our sponsors.
And one final question about economic development, because that's your forte, that's your position with Freebee.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about it.
Yes, well, we're a transportation service, but with the amount of cars that we can take off the road and the amount of money that we can save individuals on taxis and Ubers and Lyfts and things like that, we really help people get to the businesses to spend money. And, the more money the businesses are making, the more taxes that they pay. And so really the whole design of the Freebee experience is to provide enough economic development within a community to where the service pays for itself, and sometimes multiple times over, as well as, giving people free rides everywhere. So it's really just kind of connecting everything and all together. So it just makes financial sense, as well as, a fun alternative option for transportation.
That's great. And by the way, you mentioned about your ambassadors, right? Because they're your drivers. And we met a wonderful one, Oscar, who's been with you guys for 2 years as well. So we know that they've been around long-term employees, and want to make sure that even though the ride is free, that those that take the ride, make sure that you tip the drivers. They're just wonderful people, and that's how also they make a living as well.
Yes, that's 100% optional, 100% voluntary. Some of our passengers do, some don't. We certainly appreciate it, but there's no pressure to do so whatsoever.
Correct.
But thank you for mentioning it.
Yes, he's a self-proclaimed Renaissance man, and he is very communicative
Very
and
knowledgeable
welcoming. Yes, and had a lot to offer to talk about the neighborhood. He was really good.
He was very good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But he's also shy, believe it or not. So
No.
he has his outgoing side.
I don't believe it. You can't convince us of that.
When I was speaking to Oscar and said, "Oh, you're going to be picking up Laney and Ernie from the Scoop Miami," and he was like, "Oh, I'd love to, but not on camera. I don't want to be on camera."
Yeah.
We got that.
Yeah, when we filmed the promo episode, he was not in the car.
No.
It was a driverless Freebie, which was good.
So with small, intimate groups, he's outgoing, but but camera shy. So yeah, but he's great. He's fantastic. We've been very lucky to have him.
Yes. Well, do you have anything else you'd like to talk about?
Well, people can reach out to Freebee at any time if they have any questions about how to use the service.
Okay.
So if it's an individual passenger, please reach out to us. Or if it's a business looking for, advertising opportunities, or just to be on our app and do cross promoting, which is free, they can reach out to me. My email is John, JOHN @ridefreebee.com, and I'll get back to them directly, within a day or less.
And if anybody did not get a chance to get that information, at the end of the show on scooponmiami.com, you'll be able to go to our guest pages, and there will be a link to the Freebie website where you'll be able to have all of their contact information as well.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much, John. It's been great talking to you. You're a great representative for this exciting company. We're really happy we connected with you.
Thank you very much, Laney, for the opportunity. Ernie, pleasure to speak with you.
Same here.
And I guess it's a big weekend coming up, so I hope everyone stays safe and enjoys themselves.
You too.
We're so excited about our program because it's Friday. We know what happens. So have a great weekend.
Thank you, John.
Thank you both.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay.
So
that was a great segment with John Janus of the Freebie. And when we come back to the Scoop on Miami, we're going to have
our next guest, Cindy Hudson, Chef Cindy Hudson. So we're going to connect with her in a minute and let you know a little bit about her to introduce her. I'm Lainey Rada, a leading edge broker associate with Douglas Elliman. I have over 35 years of experience in market cycles to bring to every transaction, and I'm still alive. When you want to see how I sell 85% of my listings and the average agent sells 40%, we need to talk. I break records, the fastest sale, the most offers, the highest price per square foot. Which one do we want to accomplish? My company includes superior quality marketing to enhance your property and the worldwide exposure, which matters in Miami. If you want to buy, I'm a Miami native. I know the area extremely well. Put my negotiating skills to work. I'm the only Lainey Rada in the world, so it's easy to find me. But I'll help you. My phone number is 305-710-8558. That's 305-710-8558. Let's set up a time to talk.
It's electric. Freebie is changing the way people experience South Florida with free electric transportation. Reduce your carbon footprint. As a Going Green advocate, Freebie fully supports South Florida's climate action plan. Experience the movement with Freebie by requesting a free ride. With a push of a button, you'll be able to travel throughout our city like never before. Freebie is available in over 15 neighborhoods near you, from Coconut Grove to Coral Gables, from Key Biscayne and Doral to Pinecrest, Palmetto Bay to the beaches and more. Meet the future of transportation today with free door-to-door service from Freebie. No parking hassles, no worries when enjoying a few ones with friends. Freebie will safely take you home. Have a business and are looking for mobile branding opportunities? Call Freebie today and enjoy a reliable and safe transportation solution. Download the Freebie app today and start to enjoy your trips and leave the Freebie driving to us. It's electric.
We're back with more of the Scoop on Miami. Find our podcast on iTunes and on YouTube as a video, our Facebook page, and thescooponmiami.com. While there, don't forget to subscribe, share, and like our podcast channel. And now, here's Ernie Enad and Lainey Rada.
We are back to the Scoop on Miami live on Facebook at Scoop on Miami. Don't forget, it turns into a podcast later today. You can find it on iTunes, Spotify, and as well as scooponmiami.com. On the telephone right now, we have a lovely chef and award-winning chef and author. Lainey, go ahead.
Yes, in 1994, award-winning chef Cindy Hudson met her life partner, Delia Shirley, with a passion for cooking. With Shirley's extra support, one restaurant led to another, and countless prestigious awards set a pace for a thriving culinary future. Are you there, Cindy?
I am. Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being on the program.
Yes, thank you.
Well, it's an honor.
Yes, and how's your day going? Are you making it?
Oh my goodness. it's like right in the middle of the lunch, and I said to my daughter who's working the hotline, I said, "You get over to my station now. I got to go on the podcast." So here I am in the office. And
All
we're
right.
making it.
You're hiding. Okay. We'll try to keep it, we know how pressing your time is, especially at this time. We knew it was a challenge for you.
And we're so grateful again for being on the program.
Thank you. Let's start.
No, I'm grateful.
Oh, thank you. Let's start at the beginning. What inspired you to become a chef? What's your background?
Oh, I never thought I was going to be a chef. All I ever loved to do was cook and hang out in the kitchen with my dad on Sundays, and then fish for a living for a while. And when I fished for a living, I always had the best fish, so I cooked that. I learned how to cook that. So I was cooking since about 9. I didn't go to culinary school, and it was just always a passion and something I did for fun.
Oh, that sounds great. Especially the fishing. That's really unique. You know a lot about fish then, more probably than the average chef, just because you were in there, catching them.
Yeah. Well, certainly I know about a lot about it, how to catch them and how to prepare them properly. And it's actually what brought me to Florida. I grew up in New Jersey, and I could only fish there pretty much in the summer through the fall. And then it just got too cold. So once I was able to leave my nest in Jersey and my family, I got in my car and drove down here and got my captain's license.
Wow.
Oh, great. Well, that takes us off on a whole different path, but we'll have to stick to the chef part.
Yes, yeah.
Cuisine of the Sun is such a special name for your signature food and your type of cooking. How did you come up with that? How was your menu inspired?
Well, when I started out on Lincoln Road in '94, I was known as Caribbean and Jamaican for the most part. And I cooked a lot of those types of island-style foods. When we were asked to move to our location in Coral Gables from Lincoln Road, Lincoln Road was then started to really get expensive, so we moved into the Gables. And I wanted more of a neighborhood feel. And so here I had a bigger kitchen, a bigger restaurant, and I had pretty much a very diverse crowd here, Latin, Mediterranean, Asian, all kinds of cuisines, Caribbean. And so I started doing all different types of food. I traveled a lot as a guest chef. I was asked to Croatia, different countries, and I cooked. And when I come back home, I cook those dishes. So all these food writers and interviewers would say, so you're Caribbean, you're Jamaican inspired. And I started saying, you know what, it's developed into more than that. We are such an ethnic area here in Miami, and I'm going to change it to Cuisine of the Sun.
That's great. I think that's a really nice way to talk about ethnic diversity. That's fantastic. You have a remarkable list of awards. There's no room left on the windows at your restaurant. And such great recognition, which you must be very proud of. And I wanted to know which ones, because I don't think it can be just one, but if it is, you'll tell us, which is the most significant to you?
I think the most significant award that we achieved was when we first opened here on Miracle Mile, coming from that tiny little restaurant on Lincoln Road to a much larger space. I was nominated in 1999 as the 10 top restaurants in the United States by Esquire magazine. Wow.
That's a nice honor.
And that, I was only open 2 months.
Wow.
And the food writer John Mariani came in, who's a very, very well-known food writer. And yeah, he was so important. And so was getting on that list in Esquire. And so that really catapulted me into future success. And you know what it did more than anything? It gave me a lot of confidence to know, oh, wow, I can do this.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, what a shot in the arm.
I wouldn't think of that, as an answer. So that is important, for sure.
That we're also
that
human,
was the most important.
Right? That all of a sudden you knew your product, what you're able to cook, and then all of a sudden now it gets confirmed. Right?
Yeah, that's a great answer, right. And definitely a significant magazine to be in, and especially open 2 months. What a great answer! Yeah, thank you.
And the other thing was I was a female chef, and I didn't go to culinary school, nor did I ever work under another chef. And so I constantly doubted myself, and that notoriety took that doubt away.
That's great. Congratulations on that.
You're not kidding. Now you went from an expensive place on Lincoln Road to not a much less expensive on Miracle Mile, and you have a unique distinction of owning this successful business with your partner Delius Shirley for over 20 years. What contributes to that
21,
state?
July
21
1st.
years.
That's right.
Oh, I can't forget it. July 1st is my birthday. What a special day July 1st is.
Mine's the 3rd. Mine's July 3rd.
Oh, we're cancers. We're special people.
Yep.
I could keep the
Yep.
list going because my dad's the 5th, my brother's the 6th, my brother-in-law's the 8th.
Yeah.
That's a bunch of crabs.
So what contributes to your staying power?
My what power?
Your staying power after 20 years, 21 now years with your partner.
I think the fact that we truly are a family-run restaurant. We were a part of this neighborhood. We used to live right down the street from the restaurant. We move a little farther south now. But I think the fact that we were actually working. If dishes need to be washed, I can jump off the line, wash the dishes. If Delius was always on the floor. We knew every ticket that came in. I could tell by the order placed who it was. And I would cook almost special for them because people have their wants and needs, and everybody knew that I was specifically trying to satisfy them. And I don't say no to any reasonable request. It's easy I'm in the hospitality business. That means I'm supposed to be hospitable. That means I'm not supposed to say no. Mind you, the times you have to say no, whether you're so busy you can't stop and make something different for them off the menu. But all in all, I think the longevity is due to the fact that Delius and I were here. Our kids were here. Our kids grew up in here. And we had a feel of a family. And that's how we tried to portray ourselves.
Well,
that's nice. Special answer.
That is,
again.
That is. If you could accomplish anything else, what would it be?
I've been asked that before, and I'm not quite sure what the answer to that is. If it was something like, if what do you feel you missed out on in this career? One of the things I would have really loved to, and I didn't. I've never worked under another fantastic, great chef such as an Eric Repair, or I would have loved to have done that. I would have loved. Now I work side by side in cooking events and wine dinners with these guys and girls, and Michelle Bernstein and all our fantastic people we have
local.
in town.
That's because you were always one of them.
Yeah, but you know what? It's like I said before, it took me a while to realize that I was. But again, I really would have loved to work in one of their restaurants with them.
I'd like to do anything with Eric Repair. I just love him.
My.
No, but I mean, he is so fascinating as a person also, right?
He is so wonderful and talented. One of my favorites.
Let me ask you, you effectively handle a lot. And what time management secrets can you share with other restaurant owners or regular people? Because it's amazing. I know you really found your calling. This is your true passion, and you don't look at it as work, even though you're there 7 days a week, right? But tell us a little bit about how you handle your time management. They're incredible skills.
Well, the one thing is I really, maybe it's not good, but I don't sleep a lot of hours. I do sleep about 6 hours is all I really need.
Oh, that's what I get.
Yeah. And I'm an early riser. I like to get up early. I have to get up early because right now I'm also the Miami Cancer Institute has taken me on as their chef ambassador from when they opened. So all my time that I devote to the Miami Cancer Institute starts very early in the morning. And, I have to do a lot of research for recipes and things like that. And then after I'm done with that, I come into Ortanique. And, it's just a matter of sometimes it gets exhausting because of the fact that there's a lot on my plate. Now, during this time, it's even more exhausting.
Yes, of course.
And yeah, because, from the start of COVID and closures, it's been dealing with myself and my daughter and one of our front of house manager who's like family, and we've kept it open. But so time management now I feel is more important than it was before. It sounds strange because you're doing 50% less business, you are doing takeout, and so why would it be so important now? And that is because I'm back in the kitchen, cooking from pure passion. I'm not necessarily cooking off my menu anymore, although I do keep the neighborhood favorites on for everybody. But every day I change the menu, and every day I write new specials and cook new things. And so now time management's really important, and sleep is.
And that's great because your customers don't get used to the same things over and over. You're always surprising them with great dishes.
Yes, you know what's so funny though, Ernie, is that all these years, 21 years, and everybody says the menu's the same. Well, I have the core menu is the same because as a chef, I feel like I'm kind of like an artist. My plate is my palette and my canvas. And so I like to change things up. But boy, being in a hometown like this, if you take a particular item off the menu that your regulars want, they get irate. They threaten they're going to go to a new restaurant if you don't give them back their pork chop or their jerk tuna. So what I ended up doing, so I could still keep the creativity, is the core menu remains the same, and it's called Neighborhood Favorites. They're the ones that people would pick it outside if I took them off. And then so what I do is, of course, the Cuisine of the Sun part comes in with the specials, because I go and depending on what's at the market, what's at the farmers in season, what fish are running and what fish are in season, and all those things come into play, and then ethnicity on top of it. So I can do a lot of ethnic dishes, and that's how I keep most people coming back for 21 years, because they know if they want that pork chop, or I say that because it's one of the ones that they get upset, or the Cornish game hen. If I took those
I
off,
love that.
they know they can always get them here. They know they can always recommend them to a friend who's never eaten here, and everybody goes, wow, that's different. And then I can keep doing new experiments with new dishes all the time, and everybody stays happy, including me.
Yes, and I'm always happy because I actually have my clients will give me gift certificates to your restaurant. Very, very large ones. Yes, isn't that nice?
That's awesome.
And these are people that just move here, that they hear about it, they go right away. It's just a really nice introduction to bring everybody together. And even that part of the menu is called the neighborhood special sounds so personable.
It really does.
Yeah.
I have to give a shout out to Paolo Simonetti, who is such a huge fan of yours. He's been going to your restaurant for 20 years. He loves
awesome.
that jerk chicken penne. Right?
Sorry, go ahead.
But he loves, and he was so sorry he could not be here to see you and to be part of the program today, because he's a huge fan of yours.
I love our customer base. Our customers are fantastic. And you know what? When they have visitors from out of town, I think another thing that has kept the longevity is here. The feel is inside. Our customers will have people come from out of town, New York, LA, wherever, and they come in and go, well, where do we want to eat to feel Miami and what Miami's about? And they'll bring them here. And they've brought them here for years. Oh, I told them they had to come here, and they had to try this dish, and they had to try that dish. And so that's how our customer base has expanded, because I have such loyal customer base here. And they become family.
It's all about.
Yes. What other locations can we find you?
Well, we also have a grab-and-go market in the Southeast Financial Center called Zest, and it's downtown Miami. We have a small ownership and consulting in the Grill, Jamaica, in a hotel it's a small boutique hotel, absolutely gorgeous 5-star hotel. And that restaurant's called Zest at the Cliff in the Grill. I do the consulting for the Miami Cancer Institute, and they have the cafe, which right now, of course, isn't full on open, but my food can be found in that cafe. And with the cancer patients, I do demos. And let's see, where else can you find me? I feel like there was one. Oh, and soon, again, it's been delayed because of COVID, but Delius and I are consulting on a brewery in Wynwood called La Chapital. And it's going to have a beautiful beer garden. And where a lot of breweries have, distribution in beer, we'll have a wine list, we'll have mixed drinks and food instead of like a food truck outside. I'm going to be creating and doing all the food, and it is Cuban inspired.
Wow.
Okay. I know what you're forgetting. You have a cookbook.
Oh, yeah, you can find me in the cookbook. And okay, I can add to the next proudest I was in this career, and that is writing that cookbook.
Oh.
Because it was very difficult for me. I'm computer inadequate, and I got it done very quickly. And for every recipe, there's a story. And one of the proudest moments is somebody submitted my cookbook to World Gourmand Cookbook Awards, and I won Best Female Cookbook of that particular year.
Fantastic.
And Best Female for World Gourmand Cookbook. And the amount of people that have called me that I don't know that say, I have to call you and let you know I love the recipes, but I also love reading the stories, and it brings me home, or it makes me feel good. And I just thought, who care about my stories, But the response has been so super, and I never thought I could accomplish that. And you know what? You said something earlier, Ernie, that it's my calling, it's my passion, and it is. And what's really great is, as a crazy kid fishing and all that stuff, sometimes I get a hold of people that are anchors in your life. Well, Delius was my engine and took me forward, grabbed me by the hand, threw me in the kitchen and said, you can do this. And if it wasn't for him doing that, I would not be in this position today.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That is a beautiful
Yeah,
story.
thank you for sharing that.
And we know how important storytelling is, and we're into that post-COVID, almost like a post-9/11, where relationships matter, stories about you matter, and that's what keeps your customers coming back year after year because of you, not the food. Obviously, the food is the main thing, but it's so important. If you take the heart out of the business, it goes away.
Yeah, that's why we wanted you to be a guest and appreciate you sharing your time, because they're these little things that nobody really knows until you ask directly from the horse's mouth.
Right.
Are there any promotions?
Thank you so much.
Are there any promotions you want to share with our listeners and viewers?
We are still trying to figure a lot out.
Okay.
But now with people's fears of, is there going to be a second run? If you come in and dine between, I think it's the hours of 4, I forget what they are. I should have found that out. You get 15% off your bill. It's like an early bird special. You get 15% off the bill.
Perfect.
Yeah. So right now we're going to wait and see what plays out and what happens in our community here before we can really go full force with big promotions. Okay. The only thing I can promote is we're all in that kitchen as a family cooking with love. That's what I can promote now.
That's
a
very
beautiful
nice
thing. Yes. Thank you so much. We know that you are much in demand and have to run back in the heat.
You're right about that.
I know. So I just can't thank you enough for your time. I know it's very valuable, especially at lunchtime, and we're live. So
Lainey and Ernie, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being a part of the Scoop on Miami.
Wish you lots of continued success.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Cindy Hudson with Ortanique in Coral Gables, right on the mile, huh?
Yes. Still to come on The Scoop on Miami is the 305's Hidden Treasure. Still considering coming on our show? Hear what our guests have to say about us.
Well, before I say that, I just wanted to mention your segment, Lainey, on MacArthur Causeway. I spent a lot of time on the Causeway and over in Watson Island, and it was very informative, and I really enjoyed the history lesson.
Oh, thank you.
So that was excellent.
Hi, good afternoon. First of all, I just want to start by saying that was a beautiful segment, very well done. Thank you. Very, very nice and very accurate.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's just a thrill for us.
Thank you so much for celebrating the ball and chain and highlighting.
Thank you so much.
The Cayocho story.
But Bernie and Lainey, I just want to thank you guys for everything you're doing for the community and the podcast. I know it's just a fantastic job that you guys are doing. And I know that you're doing this right out of the bottom of your heart to promote small business and Miami business and Miami in general. And it's such a wonderful. It's so wonderful to be here with you today. I mean, here you are doing all this, and never once have you come up to me or any of the, I guess, all the other people and asked for anything. You're just doing it for the community to get out there, to get the YouTube channel going, and it's just fantastic work. So thank you so much.
Good food begins with the best fresh ingredients, followed by the delicate art of preparing, blending, and cooking. Great food, however, demands an adventurous flair for creating unexpected combinations. Ortanique on the Mile, winner of the long list of awards, this family-owned Caribbean fine dining restaurant, established over 20 years ago by the award-winning chef-owner Cindy Hudson, whose culinary style is heavily influenced by her extensive travels and food history. Her cuisine of the sun infuses nuances of her famous island flavors in creating signature dishes that keep her customers coming back week after week and year after year. Whether you're enjoying a date night out, an anniversary, or a fun night out with friends, Ortanique on Miracle Mile will satisfy your Caribbean-inspired cravings. There's something happening every night at Ortanique, from Temptations Tuesdays to Sparkling Thursdays to an interactive cooking experience with chef-owner and author from the tip of my tongue, Cindy Hudson. Ortanique is located at 278 Miracle Mile in Coral Gables, open 7 days. Make a reservation today by calling 305-446-7710, 305-446-7710, Ortanique. From this moment on, consumers will expect it and sellers will demand it. Cinematic video walkthroughs for all of your listings. Professional photography, cinematic video walkthroughs, on-camera video tours, and professional voiceover narration. I'm Ernie Emad, head of BlueHourStudios.com. Blue Hour Studios is a progressive visual and audio powerhouse, producing high-end video and audio productions. Become an expert in your field with a professionally produced podcast from our studio in Coral Gables. Call Blue Hour Studios today to elevate your image and voice. BlueHourStudios.com. With hundreds of brokerages, thousands of agents, how do you cut through all the noise? One Premier International Realty, a boutique real estate brokerage located in Coral Gables, doing business the old-fashioned way. Putting people first. Buying, selling, or leasing residential and commercial properties in Miami-Dade, Broward, and Monroe counties? One Premier International provides each customer a high level of service and communication experience with full-time agents from around the world bringing their unique sense of business skills and a foreign customer base. One Premier International Realty. You've heard of private banking. Now experience private brokerage. A higher level of service and knowledge. One Premier International Realty, 305-669-0233, or go online to www.onepremierinternational.com.
We're back with more of The Scoop on Miami. Find our podcast on iTunes and on YouTube as a video, our Facebook page, and thescooponmiami.com. While there, don't forget to subscribe, share, and like our podcast channel. And now, here's Ernie Enad and Lainey Rada.
All right, we are back. We have to do our obscene breaks, right? Commercial breaks, but we love to do them because we get to promote the businesses that we have on our program, and
That's
it helps
what we're here
everybody.
for.
All about local businesses. You bet. Don't forget to watch every single week, Fridays at 1 o'clock. You can also watch it on scooponmiami.com and then listen to the podcast on iTunes.
And YouTube, you can see the visual.
So now it's time for the hidden treasures, and it's a unique one. You would never think that that's what you would choose as the hidden treasures, and I'll never walk into those stores without really knowing the history and how reliable they are.
Well, I do find this a unique and fun topic, and I think that it goes along with everybody realizing how much weight that they gained while they were in quarantine, because I said on the show in the first couple of weeks, be sure to put your pants on to make sure they still fit, because if you were just wearing pajamas, you really didn't know.
And I really never knew the actual story behind
There's
that.
a lot behind it.
Let's take a listen to the hidden treasure. That's the 305's hidden treasure today.
And now it's time for the 305. The 305 Hidden Treasures. Hidden Treasures with Lainey Rada.
There's a big green Florida thing. Right away, palm trees and alligators come to mind. They are called big green people weighers, and they are near the entrance of every Publix in Florida. Today's hidden treasure is the Publix scale. Why does every Publix have a scale? The store is a Florida-based chain. George Jenkins is the founder of the store, with its first location in Lakeland in 1930. In those days, people didn't have scales at home. It was also unusual to find a free scale outside of your doctor's office. Scales anywhere else required a coin to use. To weigh without pay was a unique thing. They used to be found in the back of the store and were relocated to the entrance decades ago. The original scale is at headquarters in the office. It is featured as part of the new Associates Tour. The manufacturers of model number 2830 are Mettler Toledo in Ohio. They were made in the age of things that last forever. High tech was low tech. The last ones were made in 2015, so Publix brought the bulk and keeps them in a Lakeland warehouse. There are only 24 left. They are as unique as typewriters and Tupperware. A man named Eugene Anderson is the only man who is the repair expert for all stores. He uses the official Publix People Weigher Repair Handbook, and all of them are perfectly calibrated. This scale never lies. He replaces them if necessary, which hasn't happened since 1971. They really last. Every time you go, you see someone using it. Some people actually come just to use the scale. People remove socks and shoes. Some people mention it keeps them in check and affects their decision to make healthy choices. There are happy stories of people who are measuring milestones and progress. Another common use is actually dog weighing. Here in our tourist-driven state, a most popular use is people bringing their suitcase to check weight for the plane trip. This is a special novelty for 90 years. It's free, and you know you're in Florida when you see this throwback.
It's all about free today. Freebie rides.
That's right.
You can, the People Weigher. I didn't even know it had a name, right?
Yes.
And I wonder how old he is repairing those machines.
Oh, I don't know. I saw a picture of him, but I don't know. But he has a special job, that's for sure.
And who will be in his footsteps?
Oh, gosh.
I've never weighed myself on one of those scales.
Oh, I have.
Yeah.
Plenty of times.
Now that I know they're accurate, I will never weigh myself.
They're all accurate. Isn't that something?
I prefer my inaccurate scale at home. It makes me feel better. Go to the doctor, it's a little heavier on the doctor.
Right.
Oh, okay, doc, I prefer my scale.
Right.
So we've come to the end of another great Scoop on Miami program, as we do every single week. We had a couple of great guests, award-winning chef, author, owner of Ortanique, on the mile here.
Among other things, she is really busy.
You're not kidding. It's amazing.
And great attitude.
And time management skills to the T, and really a special person. And then we had John Janus, who is the Economic Development Director for Freebee. And that was an electric program. It was great. We found out a lot of good stuff about him, and more people should use.
And how many places you can find it.
Yeah, absolutely. Quite a
and
few
and
places.
just the impetus behind that of saying save money on the ride and spend it on the business, which is what we're doing the podcast for, to help people broadcast their businesses.
And not only do you save money on the ride, you save money on the parking, and that money goes towards the tips for the drivers, for the restaurant servers, for everybody. So it's a win-win for the environment, for everything else. So next week we have a special program.
Yes, next week we're all about Overtown. We have been spending months trying to gather the people together. It's a very unique, historic location in Miami, so we want you to learn more about it too.
And it's a great history to learn about Overtown. That's next week on the Scoop on Miami. Don't forget, share, like, leave us your comments, subscribe to our channel. Go to scooponmiami.com, where you'll see all of our guests there. And we always have a wonderful time doing these programs. And we're going to see you next week on the Scoop on Miami. Have a great one, everyone.
We hope you were entertained, informed, enriched, and proud to live in Miami. We have come to the end of another episode of The Scoop on Miami with your host, Ernie Emad, broker, owner of One Premier International Realty, and Lainey Rada, a leading-edge broker associate with Douglas Elliman. Thank you for riding alongside our journey. If you know of a special person doing wonderful things in our community or want your business featured, visit thescooponmiami.com and contact us. Find The Scoop on Miami on iTunes. Subscribe, share, and like our podcast channel. While there, leave a comment. We'd love to know what you think. And now you have The Scoop on Miami.